those chains, rise up, find your flow. You cannot lose when faith meets the grind. Stand up, take action, leave the fear behind. With a vision so strong, there's no way you fail. The kingdom is your canvas, let your spirit sail. When the marketplace call it, in the marketplace call it. There's a boys in your corner, together we'll break through. Victory's a choice, and today you're gonna choose. Living out your dreams, ain't no time for second best. Fulfill your destiny, put your limits to the test. Break those chains, rise up, find your flow. Find your flow. You cannot lose when faith meets the grind. Stand up, take action, leave the fear behind. With a vision so strong, there's no way you fail. The kingdom is your canvas, let your spirit sail. Rise up, business bishop, let your victory roar. Coaching for the kingdom, you're destined for more. Rise up, business bishop, let your victory roar. Coaching for the kingdom, you're destined for more.
Welcome to the masterclass, take a seat, it's time to soar. Where rivers of success meet, let's unlock the door. Blueprints laid down, we're creating something grand. In Eden they started, now it's our turn to stand. Four rivers flow, a vision crystal clear. With faith in our hearts, we've got no fear. Success streams flow, we're lifting us high. With the master's guidance, we're touching the sky. Building our dreams with a powerful team. In this business life, we're living the dream.
Hey friends, God bless you, and welcome to another Kingdom Conversation with me, your host, Bishop Wayne Malcolm, the business bishop, always excited and delighted to be a part of your life and amazing legacy through this ministry. I want to salute and celebrate those of you that are joining us live. And for those of you that catch the replays, I am just grateful for this growing kingdom conversation, this growing kingdom family, this growing kingdom network. It's absolutely exciting. And here we are in this November to Remember, in which we've been putting out so much content on our YouTube channel. 3 times a week, we're posting content. And of course, I've been hosting a Wednesday webinar for every Wednesday in this month of November. And if you want to join the Wednesday webinar where we're really looking at business success mapping, all right? If you want to join that, then there is a link in the description beneath this video so you can join our Wednesday webinar on the Zoom platform. It has been an epic month. I have thoroughly enjoyed the series, and judging from the comments, so have you. This will be a good time for me to thank those of you that have subscribed to the channel and encourage those of you that enjoy our content but have not yet subscribed to go ahead and click that subscribe button. I also want to thank those of you that like the post, that actually click that like button on the post and that leave a comment. The comments are a blessing to me, but the comments also help us to become more findable by people who are looking for this sort of kingdom content. So you're actually helping the mission by liking the post and leaving a comment. Of course, I encourage you to share, to let your family, friends, neighbors, and networks know about this kingdom conversation. And if you're joining me live, I want you to light up that chat box if we say anything that constitutes a light bulb moment for you, an epiphany or a paradigm shift, an elevation in your understanding, then please do indicate it in the chat box. And that's going to keep us live and interactive. Yay! Well, I'm going to put in a sound effect right now. That's a bit loud. All right, so put in that sound effect right there, because today we're not going to have sound effects in the session, because today we are going to continue our success mapping series But because I'm looking at today financial success mapping, money mapping secrets and strategies, um, I have decided to let you in to a private class where I was teaching on this particular subject. So this was a private class. This is not something that's been available to the public until now. So you are in the right place at the right time, because because I'm not sure that I could say these things any better than I did in that private class. And it's going to run over two parts. Fundamentally, I'm going to be unpacking and exploring the biblical strategies and secrets for wealth creation, for creating wealth, and for creating generational wealth, the kind of wealth that Proverbs 13:22 talks about when it says a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, and the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just. And of course, according to that passage, just enough is not enough for a good man. A good man has generational dreams, generational goals, and employs generational strategies, and is thinking beyond himself and beyond his lifetime. And so we want to address that in this particular series. So the next two installments, right, of this kingdom conversation are critical if creating wealth is important to you. And I know that money is not the most important thing. It's not the most important thing in life, but it's way up there. My mentor says it's way up there with oxygen, right? Because because you need it every day, and if you don't have enough, you feel like you're suffocating. And that is so very true. So we're going to talk about kingdom wealth creation, and we're going to kick off now by looking at your beliefs, okay? Your beliefs. And my question is, are your beliefs blocking your blessing? Are your beliefs blocking your blessing? I guess it's easy and lazy to think that the economy is in your way, or a government is in your way, or an industry is in your way, or the competition is in your way. This is easy and it's lazy. I want to get to the root and ask you today, could your beliefs be blocking your blessing? Are you ready? Are you steady? Well, let's go. So here is the table of content. We are going to unveil a formula, a kingdom wealth creation formula. And of course, we're going to do that in stages. So after the introduction, we'll look at our beliefs about money. What is money? What is wealth? The kingdom wealth formula, financial intelligence, financial leverage, long-time perspectives, corporate structure, and financial stages. So we're going to spend about 2 hours on this today, but we will take some periodic breaks as we go through it. So if you're excited and ready to roll, then please say so in the chat box. I'm excited, ready to roll. Let's make it happen. So here's the introduction. Believers and kingdom ambassadors are required and expected to create generational wealth. Wow. Wow and wow. I think I'm going to say that again. Believers and kingdom ambassadors are required and expected to create generational wealth. Proverbs 13, verses 22 to 23 reads, "A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, but the sinner's wealth is laid up for the righteous. The fallow ground of the poor would yield much food, but it is swept away through injustice." And these verses are absolutely loaded with implications and applications for believers, for kingdom ambassadors and heavenly citizens. And I guess the starting point is this word good, you know, a good man, a good man. And of course, what this suggests is that the creation of generational wealth, that generational financial goals and generational financial dreams, and the creation of more than enough is inherently moral, that it is virtuous, noble, and righteous, because it's a good man. And that word good means inherently moral, noble, righteous, and virtuous. The idea that you could amass, accumulate more than enough so that your children and your children's children inherit and leverage and benefit from your financial activities, decisions, and choices, that's a good thing according to the scriptures. The second thing we note that's a good thing is that God has purposed and planned a transfer of wealth from the sinners to the righteous. And I guess implicit here is the idea that the sinner's wealth is the root of the problem. Okay, the sinner's wealth is the root of the problem. Classic example, the fallow ground of the poor, that's the unplowed fields of the poor, would yield much food, but it's swept away through injustice. So actually, God has planted in every nation the seeds of its own redemption, so that poverty anywhere in the world is not a reflection of God's intention, neither is it due to climate and the other factors that get blamed. There's only one reason why poverty exists in the world, and it's injustice. And the root of the injustice is the sinner's wealth. So because the wrong people have all the power, the wrong people have the money, the wrong people have the voice, and the wrong people are making the decisions, and the wrong people have the influence, that's the reason why we have this global disparity in which millions and millions and hundreds of millions of people struggle to survive. It's injustice. And the root of the problem is the sinner's wealth. And so God has appointed a time, a season, a generation in which the wealth of sinners will end up in the hands of the righteous. Very, very powerful idea. So this requires belief in the inherent morality and righteousness of making a profit and living a profitable life that can be measured in terms of economic instruments. All right. So although I'm going to go into this, I still feel like I need to just kind of play with it a little bit and say that if you doubt the righteousness of making a profit and living a profitable life, then you'll end up sabotaging your own success and opposing your own opportunities because of doubt. The doubt breeds hesitation, procrastination, lethargy, and ultimately blocks the blessing. It's doubt. But when you believe that actually the right thing for me to do is to make a profit and to make more than enough, so much that my children's children's children are still benefiting from my economic decisions, choices, and activities. When you believe that that is inherently righteous and moral, and that it is your religious obligation, your spiritual duty to do this, then there is no hesitation, there is no procrastination, there is no lethargy, there is no internal conflict. There's just focus and determination, because you're now convinced that this is the right thing to do. So this brings us to our beliefs about money. Are your beliefs about money blocking your blessings? Okay, because they might be, your beliefs about money. So I'm going to go over to the four squares, then I'll come back to the left-hand side. So one of the beliefs that people have about money is that money is evil, because they found a verse in the Bible that says the love of money is the root of all evil. They found another verse that said you cannot serve God and mammon. And they found another verse that said it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. And so, because these verses have been emphasized and expounded and promoted quite heavily within the Christian tradition, a lot of believers think that money is evil. And so this person believes that money is a necessary evil, and that being rich is incompatible with being righteous. Okay, so these are the people that will work for just enough to survive. This is kind of a just enough mindset. It's a necessary evil, so I go to work to make a living, to keep the roof over my head and to put food on the table. But that's as far as it goes when it comes to money, because people that want to be rich and people that are obsessed with making money and profits and creating wealth, well, there's something incompatible about that with righteousness. So, I mean, this is so deeply embedded in the Christian tradition that in medieval times, when a person entered the priesthood, they had to take a vow of poverty, a vow of poverty. They had to forsake all worldly goods, give it all away, and live in a robe with sandals. And this made the person seem pious and holy. And so we're kind of emerging from this deeply ingrained tradition that rich is incompatible with righteous, or that material abundance is incompatible with spiritual abundance. Almost like we had to choose one or the other. You had to choose if you were going to be physically rich or spiritually rich, but you couldn't be both. And so when we met a holy man, we kind of judged them as holy by how detached they were from worldly things. And if we met a holy man who pulled up in a Rolls Royce with a Patek Philippe watch on, having stepped out of a private jet, we looked at that man with suspicion. He's a crook. He's got to be corrupt. You cannot be holy and wealthy at the same time. And this is it's kind of a seed that the devil planted within the tradition of Christianity. And it's interestingly a seed that does not exist in Judaism. It does not exist in Judaism. So I have a friend who's a Jewish rabbi, and he's a best-selling author as well, Rabbi Daniel Lapin, who has written a series of books on spirituality and money. And you know, his best book, well, all of his books are great, but his book Thou Shalt Prosper explains the mystery of Jewish wealth. And in the book, he explains that Jewish wealth is a mystery, because Jewish people are less than 10% of 1% of the world's population. And yet they command a lot of the world's wealth and occupy elite positions in global and multinational corporations, industries, and sectors. And the land of Israel is very blessed and abundant in terms of its yield of fruit. It was a desert, but it's a very advanced society, and so it's a mystery as to why they're so wealthy, and he demystifies it, and he explains that the reason is the way that Jewish children are taught to think about money. He says that in our religion, money is a good thing. And in our religion, money is a symbol or a sign of blessings. He said to me that gold is the universal symbol of wealth. Gold is the universal symbol of wealth. And the first time gold is mentioned in the Bible, it is called good. And so in the Jewish mind, they grow up thinking that money is good and that having lots of money is a sign of blessing. And they grow up believing that it is their religious obligation, they have a moral obligation and a religious responsibility, a duty to create wealth by offering services, products and services to their fellow man. And they don't have any internal conflict about this because it's a part of their religion. Creating wealth is a part of their religion. When it comes to Christian tradition, a lot of seeds have been sown into our mind, a lot of scriptures taken out of context, a lot of scriptures misinterpreted that became seeds in our mind that caused us to think of money as evil. Okay, so that could be blocking your blessing. Number two, go over to the top right. Money is for bills. Money is for bills. This person makes money to pay bills. And it's classically just enough thinking. It's just enough. Right? Some people think in terms of just enough. Whatever they're doing, whatever economic decisions they're making them based on this month's bills. Whatever economic choices, whatever financial choices they make, they're making them based on this month's bills. I gotta make ends meet. And when you think that money is for paying bills, it actually doesn't matter how much money you make, it will always be used for paying bills. And you will always have just enough because you're not even thinking in terms of more than enough. That will block your blessing. Okay, this is what I'm going to teach you is not about paying this month's bills. Okay. Number three, bottom left, one of the beliefs that might be blocking your blessing is the time for money belief, the time for money. So this person trades time for money and believes that money takes time to make. And this is sad because your time is infinitely more valuable than money. Okay. Throughout the course of your life, you will make money, you will lose money. Okay. And you'll make money back again. But when it comes to time, if you lose time, it's lost. Okay. So your time really is your life. Your life itself is measured in terms of time. So your time is your life, and your life is your time. And therefore, trading your life for money is actually a mistake. Actually, the smart people who are making lots of money are trading their mind, their thoughts, their ideas for money, not their time. Because if the only way to make money is by giving your time to an employer or giving your time to a customer or a client, if that's the only way to make money, then there's a limit on how much money you can make because there's a limit on how much time you have. That may be blocking your blessings. Number four, money is for saving. Okay, so this person saves money in a bank or in a shoebox under the bed, and they don't understand inflation. Okay, they don't understand inflation. So when people say, oh, I've got some extra money, I'm going to save it, I'm going to put it in the bank, I'm going to save it for a rainy day, I'm going to hold on to it. Well, what you're not understanding is that the cost of living is rising at a particular rate. Okay, so that a loaf of bread, the price of a loaf of bread today is significantly less than it will be this time next year. So that whatever money you leave in the bank, unless the bank gives you an interest rate that beats the rate of inflation, you are losing that money systematically. Its purchasing power is being eaten up. And so the rich are not obsessed with saving money. We think about investing money in order to beat the rate of inflation and to make much more money. And is that biblical? Yes. Let's go back over to the left-hand column. And here's what I've said. Working for money is always wrong, because it makes money your master. Wow. So if you work for money, then who's the boss? Money. And that's a problem. You can't serve God and money. So God has to be your master, not the money. And once you're working for money, money is your master. What's supposed to happen is that the money works for you. So putting money to work for you is the key to creating wealth. Putting money to work for you is the key to creating kingdom wealth. And I'll show you this in Matthew 25, verses 20 to 21. And he who had received the 5 talents came forward, bringing 5 talents more. He doubled the money, saying, Master, you delivered to me 5 talents. Here I've made 5 talents more. He doubled the money. His master said to him, well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful over a little. I'll set you over much. So because he was able to double the money, his master, Christ, gave him much more, set him over much, gave him a bigger domain. And he said, enter into the joy of your master, the joy of your Lord. And so we don't work for money. We put money to work for us. And I guess we'll break this down as we go along. So just to flush out any remnant of the idea that creating wealth, making money, making a profit is somehow worldly, secular, unholy, and wrong, I want to point you to our biblical role models, okay? Because all of these characters in the Bible are role models for us. And we teach our children in children's church, these are role models, okay? To be modeled, to be emulated. But when you look at the financial statement of many of our biblical role models, you'll find that they were men and women of great substance who commanded wealth. So according to Genesis 13, verse 2, Abraham was very rich, and he's the father of the faith movement, very rich. Joseph became phenomenally wealthy in Egypt. He literally was given the land of Goshen, which in terms of real estate value, billions and billions and billions of dollars worth of land came into Joseph's hand. Moses possessed the riches of Egypt because actually he told the Israelites to borrow from the Egyptians. The Egyptians were shook because of the plagues. And he said, go borrow from the Egyptians, gold, jewels, every precious things that you could. So when they left the land, they left with all of this gold and riches and treasures. And that's why, you know, they were able to build the golden calf, but they were also able to build the Ark of the Covenant and overlay it with gold and all of this stuff, because Moses commanded great wealth and resources, even in a desert. Boaz, the husband of Ruth, was a wealthy man. And when it comes to the financial statement of Jesus Christ, you really want to perhaps look up my sermon on that particular subject that I've preached a few times and in a few places. But Jesus was not poor, and we can prove that biblically. So if our biblical role models commanded wealth and they were holy people, then yeah, you can be rich and righteous. You can be holy and wealthy at the same time. And there is nothing dodgy or incompatible, inconsistent with a holy person pulling up in a Rolls Royce, getting out of a private jet, sporting a Patek Philippe. That's not incompatible with the biblical picture of holiness, okay? And that's not me saying you have to have those things to be holy. It's saying that there isn't a conflict between having great wealth and having a great relationship with God. And if there's any doubt left, just go to Adam, go to the origin, go to the beginning. In the beginning, Adam is the wealthiest man in the world, having dominion over everything. And yet he has this beautiful relationship with God where he walks with God in the cool of the day. Why? Because God made all this for us, but he made us for himself. So everything is ours. Everything you can see in the world, God made for us, but he made us for himself. And as long as he can have us, we can have it. That's simple. That explains a lot of the misinterpretations of some key passages in the scriptures. So I want to go into now what is money, because that's a really deep question. It's almost an existential question. What actually is money? You know, is it paper? Is it coins? Is it digits on a screen? Is it a card in your pocket? Is it a contract? What exactly is money? Because in the olden days, money was a piece of gold, okay? In fact, in the very olden days, when there was a bartering system, you simply traded goods for goods, or services for services, or goods for services, or services for goods. And there was no intermediary. There was no, there was no representation. There was just people trading value for value. And to understand what money is, you kind of have to understand the history of money. I'm going to do this pretty quickly because I'm still easing my way in. Some of you may have heard of the gold standard, which is a monetary system that pretty much the world operated by, certainly in the 1800s. And then this gold standard was ditched by several governments in the 1970s. But here's what it meant, and it's just important to understand this, that originally money was gold. Okay, money was gold. So a piece of gold had intrinsic value, and you could bring it to market and exchange it for goods or services. You could say, I want 2 of your cows, and here's a piece of gold. Okay. You could say, I want to buy your farm, and here's a bag of gold. Or I want you to come and work for me, and here's a piece of gold. So the gold had intrinsic value, which meant it could be used to purchase goods and services. So what would happen eventually is that the gold was heavy and difficult to carry around, and it made you a target for thieves and robbers if they knew you were carrying gold. So what people did was they put the gold into safes, okay, into vaults, into safes called a bank. And this is the beginning of banking. So the gold is inside a safe, a vault, a bank, where it's protected, okay, where it can't be robbed, it can't be stolen. And what the banker would give you is a receipt for the amount of gold you deposited. So the receipt would say something like this: I promise to pay the bearer on demand the sum of whatever the amount of gold was. So instead of carrying around bags of gold and cases of gold, you were carrying around bank receipts. And eventually you could simply use these receipts to make your purchases. So you, instead of saying, okay, I want 5 cows, here's a bag of gold, you'd say, I want 5 cows, here's a receipt from the bank. That means you can go and collect a bag of gold. So these were the receipts, okay? And that's the origin of paper money. Paper money was a receipt for deposits of gold. And right up until the 1970s, all currencies, all paper money was pegged to the value of gold. And each of these countries producing the money had reserves of gold in their central banks and in their vaults, because the currency was pegged to gold. Well, in the 1970s, the United States, the UK, many other countries unpegged their currency from the value of gold. They dropped the gold standard, which meant that the paper's value was now based on the strength of the government and of supply and demand within that economy. But there was nothing backing up the money. So it was paper money, or what is called legal tender or fiat currency. So it's paper. The paper has no intrinsic value. The paper represents value, which is why we now have digits, okay? Digits on a screen, all right? That represent value. We got cards that we carry with credit limits on that represent value. We get mortgages and loans, and if you think that once you get the mortgage, that the bank has given paper money to the seller in your name, that's not what's happened. It's just digits that have changed on a screen. It's digits that have changed on the screen, and the money is literally created out of your signature, but there's not enough cash in the bank to justify all the digits moving around. So it's no longer based on something that has intrinsic value. It's actually based on a set of laws and rules by which countries agree to operate. And that's what money is, okay? So let's just go through this list. So if you want to think about money as, number one, a metric of value, which is a way of measuring. It's a way of measuring the value of goods and services. So money is a metric of value. It's a way of measuring the value of goods and services. So here's my car. How can I value it? I can value it in pounds. I can value it in dollars. It's a way of measuring its value. Second way to think about money is liquidity. Liquidity. So money is useless and worthless until exchanged for goods or services. So where's the value? The value is in the goods and the services. The money itself is a way of measuring the value of the goods and the services, but the money itself is worthless and useless until it's exchanged for goods and services. What does that mean? It means that you can have $100 million, okay, in $100 bills, in suitcases, on a desert island, does you no good whatsoever. You can't eat the money, you can't live in the money, you can't drive the money, you can't do anything. It only becomes of value once you get off the desert island and into a society that has goods and services that you can exchange for it. So that's why it's called liquid, because it's made to move. Okay, if money is stagnant, okay, it's polluting, it's corrupting. It's not made to be stagnant. Its only value is in its movement. Third way to think about money is legal tender. So a coin, card, statement, or paper notes that we are forced by law to accept as payments for goods and services. So that just means that we are, we are legally compelled to accept these digits, these pieces of paper, these coins as payment for goods and services. And finally, money is debt. So money is a depreciating commodity. It is government debt. Inflation is the deflation or devaluation of fiat currency. So when we say that the cost of living is going up, what that really means is that the value of your currency is going down. And the value of the currency is constantly going down at a certain rate. Now, I'm going to explain why that's important. It's important because if you obsess about making money, right, you're kind of on the wrong side of the kingdom wealth system. Because what you really should be obsessing about is actually using money. It's making money is we have to make money in order to use money. But I want us to begin thinking about using money rather than simply making money. Because if you're going to be rich and have generational wealth, it will not be calculated by how much money you made. It will be calculated by how much you made with the money. Not by how much money you made, but by how much you made with the money. So we think about using money, okay? We don't think about saving money, keeping money, holding money. We think about using money. And you're going to see this in the scriptures as we go on, that there were two servants who did well, and there was one who didn't do well and was cast out of the company. Why didn't he do well? Because he didn't use the money. He saved the money. He dug a hole. He covered it. He buried it. He didn't use it. And he was losing time, and he was losing opportunity, and he was losing wealth for his master. And therefore, he was not good. So since money is only a representation and a metric of value, then what we really want is the value itself, the value itself. So let's keep going for a little bit before I take a little break. What is wealth? What is wealth? Wealth is what God made. Money is what man made. Oh, help me now. Yeah, wealth is what God made. Money is what man made. There's a difference between wealth and money. Wealth is an abundant supply of things with intrinsic value. Intrinsic value. So if we go back to what I've been saying, paper money, fiat currency, legal tender doesn't have intrinsic value, but it can be used to buy things that have intrinsic value. So it's used to buy things that actually have value. But outside of things that have value, the paper has no value. So you might as well have millions of dollars on a desert island. There's nothing to buy. So the millions of dollars, you might as well set them on fire to keep yourself warm at night, because there's nothing to buy. But once there's something to buy, then the money has value. Wealth is an abundant supply of things with intrinsic value. And the purpose of money is to buy wealth. Oh, help me now. So the purpose of money is to buy wealth. The purpose is to use money to buy things that actually have value. Because whereas the money is losing its purchasing power at a particular rate every year, the things that have value are increasing their value every year. So what you do with money is buy wealth or things that have value. And we'll go through a list in a minute. Because when you own things that have value, the value will continue to increase. If you need money, you can liquidate one of those assets to get cash money and more purchasing power. But ultimately, your goal is to create wealth for 100 reasons that we'll get through some of them today. So what is wealth? Okay. In the kingdom, there are 4 faces of wealth. There are 4 facets of wealth. And if you don't think of wealth holistically, life can become very disappointing. So there are 4 faces of wealth. The first phase is health. Health is biblical wealth. Physical wealth involves energy, long life, and overall fitness. Because if you have all the money in the world and no energy, no vitality, no ability, or your health is deteriorating, then guess what? You're very limited as to what you can do with the money. Okay. So health is wealth. Okay. So money is a route to wealth, is a face of wealth. So financial wealth involves the ownership of passive income generating assets. Wow, that's a mouthful. Passive income generating assets. In other words, it means you own something that makes money for you while you sleep. Okay, so for example, if you wrote a book and the book was selling, you've done the work in writing the book is now selling, and you're getting royalties on the book for life. If it's a good book and it continues to sell, you're getting royalties from the book for life. That's passive income. Same is true of a work of art or music. Starts to generate passive income for you. But it's also true if you own a business that you no longer run, but you still own it. It's generating passive income for you. The same is true if you own a farm, and the farm, you don't run the farm, but you own the farm. The farm is generating passive income for you. If you own company stocks and the company starts doing well, then those stocks are generating passive income for you. So while you sleep, you're making money. And so there are a number of vehicles for generating passive income, but it's a side to wealth that you own passive income generating assets. Okay, whether that's a business, whether that's stocks and shares, whether that is an intellectual property that generates royalty. Once you own those things, that's a face of wealth. Number 3, relationships. Okay, so relational wealth involves a personal network of high value relationships. So you're biblically wealthy, or wealth in the kingdom includes the quality of your professional relationships and your personal relationships, because it's impossible to be happy no matter how much money you have if you are relationally bankrupt. So and happiness is a magnet that actually attracts more wealth and more opportunity. So relational wealth is an important facet of kingdom wealth. Knowledge Knowledge wealth, a wealth of knowledge, involves mastery of an area of understanding or skill. And so mastery of an area of understanding or a skill set is a form of wealth, because mastery of knowledge and skills, or the wealth of knowledge, will do several things for you. One, it'll make you very smart with your money. Number two, it will attract high value relationships into your life. And so the wealth of knowledge is an important facet of wealth. So when I think about creating wealth, I'm thinking very holistically about being as healthy as I can be, about owning passive income generating assets, about having a network of high value personal and professional relationships, and the wealth of knowledge, mastery of an area of understanding and skills. Why is this important? It's important because there is a difference. Financial warnings in scripture are about money and riches. There are no warnings against wealth. I'm going to say it again. When the Bible gives warnings about money, it's warnings about money and riches. It is never warnings about wealth. In fact, God says, when you come into the land, and you are possessing and enjoying the good of the land, you should remember the Lord your God, because it's he that gives you the power to get wealth. He gives you the power to get wealth. Okay? In any of the warnings that Jesus gave, they are to do with riches and money, and there is a difference. So let's look at the difference quickly. Riches in the scriptures are status symbols. I'm going to say it again. Riches in the scriptures are status symbols. So jewelry, opulent appearance, and riches can be deceitful if they symbolize a status you do not legitimately have. So since these are symbols of your status, symbols of your economic status, they can be deceitful if you don't actually have that economic status, or you don't legitimately have that economic status, but you're wearing the symbols of it. So riches are deceitful. If you made your money through fraud, through corruption, through theft, or through war, you can wear a lot of symbols of your status. But your status is illegitimate. And that's why the Bible gives warnings about riches. Okay? It's not saying that riches are wrong, but your riches should symbolize your true legitimate status. And if your economic status says Rolls Royce time, Bentley Jeep time, house on the hill time, designer clothes time, private jet time, that's fine, because it's the symbol of your actual economic status. But we are not supposed to look at riches and feel like that's the end in itself. In reality, what you go after is the economic status that allows you to legitimately enjoy riches. Okay, money is a form of power. It's purchasing power. It's neither good or evil. It takes on the character of the person holding it. It exposes your ego and gives vehicles to your values and visions. So what does money do? Like, if we, no one knows how generous you really are until you have money. It will expose you. Money doesn't change people. It actually exposes them. It takes on the character of the person holding it. It's not good or evil. There's good and evil people, but there's not good and evil money. Money is purchasing power. It's the power to purchase. And in that respect, it gives vehicle to your values and your vision. So if you have kingdom values and kingdom vision, and we give you lots of money, well, we're going to see some kingdom projects and kingdom activities and kingdom things happening because you have, because the money has taken on the character of the person holding it. Which brings me to wealth. Wealth is what God made. Wealth is land or natural resources. It is also the mindset, skill set, and tool set to create solutions from those natural resources. It's the ownership of assets, solutions, and value. So it's what is actually valuable. Money is the power to purchase what is valuable. Riches are symbols of your economic status, but the wealth is ownership of the value itself. So God gives us power to get wealth. That's what he wants us to get, wealth, because if you get wealth, then you can wear the statuses of your symbols of your status. And if you have wealth, then you have an endless supply of money. So what we prioritize is creating wealth. And here's a beautiful analogy. Wealth versus money. Wealth, money is the mango. Wealth is the mango tree. Woo! I wish I had some sound effects. Money is the mango. Wealth is the mango tree. So what do you want? A mango? If I give you a mango, I'll feed you for a day. If I give you a mango tree, I feed you and your family for life. Money is a fish. Wealth is a boat, a net, and a skill set. Wow. And you know the saying, give me a fish, you feed me for a day. Teach me how to fish, you feed me for life. The difference, money is a fish. Wealth is a boat, a net, and a skill set. So if you're really, really hungry, all you want is a fish. And if you're really, really hungry, that fish will feed you for a day, but it'll bring you back tomorrow to the people. And who are you coming back to? You're coming back to the people who own boats, nets, and skill sets for fishing. Those people are wealthy. They are producers. You're a consumer. And so the key is to use money to get to a place where you're not that hungry anymore, that you can invest money in a boat. So, well, I'm going to buy a boat. And then I'm going to buy a net, and I'm going to buy a course on how to fish. And I'm going to go out and practice fishing. And as I go out and practice fishing and I've got my boat and my net, I never again have to run cap in hand to the people who have these things just so I can eat. Okay, the last one here. Money is water. Wealth is the well. Money is water, wealth is the well. Which would you rather own, a bucket of water or a well? If you have a bucket of water, we can quench your thirst for a day. If you have a well, it'll quench your thirst for life. But if all you have is a bucket for water, you have to keep coming back to the owner of the well. The owner of the well is wealthy. The owner of the well is wealthy. The owner of the mango tree is wealthy. The owner of the boat, the net, and the skill set is wealthy. And because they have and when it comes to money, they have an endless line of hungry people, consumers, coming to buy their mangoes, their fish, and to get buckets of water. Kingdom wealth, the mango, the boat, the well. Biblical wealth is a four-square concept, including health, money, relationships, and knowledge. Money is a metric for measuring the value you add to others, including the problems you can solve, the aspirations you can help others achieve, the issues you can resolve, and the needs you can meet. To make more money, you must create more value for others. That's how you get money, by creating value for other people.
I've got potential to be what I dream.
Join Bishop Wayne Malcolm for his special webinar series entitled The 4-Year Challenge, in which the business bishop will explain how you can achieve the 4 freedoms, including financial freedom, time freedom, freedom of mobility, and freedom of expression with a simple 4-year plan. He will expose the illusions of job security and the 40-year plan promoted by the school system, while presenting a biblical blueprint for success through entrepreneurship. The webinar takes place every Wednesday morning in November at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. A link to register is in the description below this video. Register now and embark on the road to freedom.
Conceive, achieve, and live by the dream. Walk the talk and talk the walk and mean what you say. Throw the old life up. Yeah, I've got potential to be what I dream. I can see.
Attention God's entrepreneurs. Did you know that there is a success system deeply hidden and encoded in the stories of the Bible? The system works 100% of the time for people who work it, even if they work it unconsciously or not realizing its spiritual roots. Join the business bishop for a masterclass in God's success system and discover how to turn your opportunities into outcomes, your ideas into incomes, and your passion into profits. The Success Streams Masterclass includes step-by-step training on the system and comes with additional bonus courses by the business bishop. Perhaps you've tried everything else. Now try God's way and watch the same power that took Israel from slavery to mastery take you from the pain of poverty to the pinnacles of prosperity. Are you ready? Click the link in the description to find out more or to secure your seat.
Hey there, entrepreneurs! If you enjoy the teachings of Bishop Wayne Malcolm, I've got something amazing for you. Introducing the New Breed Community, an exclusive online platform for kingdom-conscious entrepreneurs, professionals, investors, and creators. This isn't just a community, it's a movement where we discuss and explore kingdom concepts. Here, kingdom-minded people connect, share, learn, and grow together. Inside, you'll find exclusive content from Bishop Wayne Malcolm, including special sessions just for members. And the best part? It's free to join. The New Breed Community sits on the Heartbeat platform, where Bishop Wayne Malcolm is excited to meet you online. Join us for weekly Q&A sessions with Bishop Wayne and get exclusive insights that can transform your life. Love to read? Join our book club to feed your mind and spirit. Got a prayer request? Post it and let's lift each other up. Have a testimony? Share how God's goodness is shining in your life. We're more than just a community, we're a movement. Discover the powerful relationship between your profession and your purpose. Join us now on the Heartbeat platform. Connect with us and let's grow together. Bishop Wayne Malcolm and the New Breed Community are waiting for you. So what are you waiting for? Hit that join button and step into a world of connection and growth. A warm welcome awaits you. See you on the inside.
Yo, it's time to rise, wake up from your sleep. Bishop Wayne's got the guidance, the wisdom runs deep. Subscribe and like, let's spread this truth loud. Comment, share it wide, let's stand tall, be proud. Kingdom coaching, we got the plan. Success principles, grab a hold and take a stand. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Bishop Wayne's teaching, we're climbing the stair. In the kingdom of hopes, together we'll thrive. With biblical truths, we'll keep dreams alive. Elevate your mind, shift that identity. In the marketplace of life, claim your clarity. Rule in the midst of the trials and the gloom. With faith as your armor, watch blessings consume. Stand firm, be bold, let your light be known. With each step forward, you'll claim your throne. Subscribe, Like, comment, and share Bishop Wayne's teaching. We're climbing the stair in the kingdom of hopes. Together we'll thrive. With biblical truths, we'll keep dreams alive. So rise up now.